The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Well, boys, it was a fun, month and a half while it lasted. And then we came back. Our favorite quarterback. We just let Mike get it out of his system right now before we move on.
I've got nothing to get out of my system.
Okay.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, there's the memey, jokey reaction, and then there's the, Mike's legitimate thoughts as a sports fan reaction, and I'm really not sure which way to play this. Look, my honest thoughts, the Bucks had no one at the QB position. So, what do you want? Excited to have Tom back for another kick at the can. We'll see what happens.
All right.
There's really nothing to say other than that, because
I'm going to go with my pat answer on anything Brady these days. Whatever. Montana is still better. I'll do it live for all of you that have never seen it in print or whatever in code.
It's just, how many times do we he's not going to get another one of these. When he retired, he got all the praise and he got his little farewell stuff. He didn't get the parade, the little good farewell tour. Maybe that's what he wanted because he couldn't stand it. He just kind of quietly retired with dignity. He had to go and be paraded around the NFL and have everyone just fillet him for 17 games or whatever, just to get a hold of just loving him some him. But it's more so, the thing that's more annoying is that it's just like the Rodgers thing where it's we thought we were done talking about this. And now we have to talk. I guess we don't have to talk about it, but we have to. It just sucks. I didn't want to spend. I don't want to spend any more time than we need to talking about this. It's just tiresome and tedious. I'd rather talk about Zach's Disney.
As far as I'm concerned, fire them cannons. Let's go. Let's do this.
Okay. I don't care one way or the other. I'm not the biggest Brady fan, as everybody knows, but I also hate to see a guy go immediately from a lot of people, most people, probably besides me and maybe three other people that follow us on Twitter, thinking he's the greatest quarterback ever, to all of a sudden he's kind of Brett Favre 2.0 now. And
well, I'll say this: at least he didn't use his fake retirement to switch teams.
Yeah.
True.
Look, it would have killed him.
Yeah.
Hey, Browns, you want to make a run at the Super Bowl? I was going to
Come on, Greg. He 46-year-old Tom Brady doesn't want to spend any time in Cleveland.
I don't blame him. 46-year-old Greg didn't want to spend time in Cleveland. That was a long time ago. All right, Zach, get in there with your thoughts.
I'm only disappointed in that now I can't hold the title of the team to end Tom Brady's career.
Yeah.
Unless, they just have to do it again this year. It's just I think I'm just on the same side with Andy. It's just annoying. Be done. Either be done or don't. I don't want to have to do this the Brett Favre dance with this guy. He's not the same personality or attitude that Brett Favre was, but it's at this point, either you are or you aren't. Don't give us I need 2 weeks. No. You already if it took this short amount of time to figure out that you're still going to play, he probably knew a week ago or 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or as soon as the season ended He probably knew after the Super Bowl.
Did
The fact that we sat around letting us think that he was done.
like
Or we say, yeah, you know what? Change my mind.
do we know if he actually filed the paperwork?
No, of course not. No.
I don't
He
know
didn't
if that
file
was-
anything.
Well, I feel like if it were filed to the league, it would have been leaked. It was
Well,
something we would have known.
The rumor, and I want to preface this by saying I don't believe this for 1 second, but it is the rumor that has been going around Tampa is that he is going to come back and play for the league minimum in exchange for 25% of the team's ownership when he retires.
That feels like a messy contract.
That's the rumor I've heard, and I'm hesitant to say there's any truth to it because I started hearing this rumor literally 5 minutes after he announced he was coming back. So
25%. I would buy it at like
25% a lot.
25% is an awful lot. Just, I mean, that when you take the value of an NFL franchise, which is probably what minimum $1 billion these days,
at least.
So you're talking, you're going to pay this guy $250 million in value or whatever you want to call it to play one season? Nah. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not an ownership stake in it for him, but I really, really doubt it's 25%. I'd be like, you got to put up some money, dude. You're going to get 25%.
So according to Forbes, in August of 2021, so ahead of this season, the Buccaneers were the 21st most valuable team in the league at $2.94 billion.
Okay, so that's like, let's just say $3 billion, basically. So that's now we're going to get into math, which will just make my brain explode. But that's three.
Just multiply the last number you said by 3.
That would be
Yeah.
So you're going to pay this guy $750 million for one fucking season? No, come on.
And it's not like.
I mean,
this would be different if it was the Patriots.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like you're an icon of the team. You are what makes this franchise relevant now and until forever. But he won a title for the Tampa Bay Bucks, a team that's been good 3 times.
Yeah.
If I may defend the Bucks here, and I mean, not that this is any shock or that you would have expected it to be any different, but like the team, perhaps because the team has historically been so bad, like he's been embraced here. Like,
oh, I don't doubt that.
I mean, literally 2 days after they won that Super Bowl, there was a mural of him downtown.
This is also a franchise that embraced Wade, or a team, a metro area that embraced Wade Boggs as the Devil Ray. So let's slow down on that.
But Wade Boggs didn't win him a World Series though. That's the difference.
No, but he hit a home run there once, which was
3,000th hit, a home run.
Right, yeah.
And the Sam's Club, right? He hit it at the Sam's Club.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I actually remember watching that on TV. I think it was against the Expos, I want to say.
A friend of mine's kid was actually there because it was against the Indians because my buddy's kid was there because Guardians. Well, I guess they were still the Indians back then. Yeah.
No, we're rewriting history like all the conservatives say that we're doing.
We're going to retcon the Indians.
We're going to retcon it. We're gonna Photoshop all of the old Indians pictures in MS Paint with sloppily applied Guardians logos.
Just say one thing about that. I saw that thread. I forget who was complaining about it, but it's a baseball card. It's not a historical document. And
what was who was calling it a historical document again?
I don't remember, but I just thought it was the silliest thing because when I was a kid, you would get baseball cards where a guy, like, say, played for Detroit last year and this year he's playing for Cincinnati.
And they would paint it on, right? Like,
it was the worst artwork you've ever seen in your life.
I love those old baseball cards where it's like they don't even make it attempting. They don't even attempt to make it look. It's just like this painted blob of a jersey that they put over someone.
But anyway, but back to the. I mean, I wouldn't for a second doubt that there's an ownership stake for Brady in the Bucks. I just don't think it's 25%. I think
for other reference, based on this Forbes valuation, in 2020, the 2020 fiscal year for the Bucks, they made $364 million in revenue.
Wow, not bad for the 21st most valuable
20
team in the NFL.
Yeah. And it says operating income was 1.9 million, so I assume that's the net.
But I guess the only thing I'll say on a serious note about this is that kind of addressing all of y'all's salt is that, like, for a team as bad as the Bucs have been, Tom Brady came in. And I got lucky in that I jumped on the bandwagon like literally like maybe a week before he showed up. But I know people who have been Bucs fans for, most of their lives, and it was legitimately like a religious experience to watch Tom Brady play for this team, because like it was like, is this what a good quarterback feels like?
I wouldn't know.
And then of course this brings up the question, well, what about 2003? And it's like, well, Brad Johnson wasn't a good quarterback, and
he was okay, but he was no Tom Brady.
Look, Brad Johnson was not the reason they won that Super Bowl, but the whole thing about it though is like, and obviously for a player of Tom Brady's caliber to have come here and won a Super Bowl, like, the city loves him. He won a Super Bowl in Tampa, right? So it's a huge. There is a lot of love for Tom Brady, and
no accounting for taste, I guess.
Well, I mean, he's no Baker Mayfield. I'm sure Baker Mayfield will get around to winning that title anytime now, but
maybe in some alternate universe, sure.
But I guess the point is that I could see, if Tom Brady wants to have a hand in ownership, if he wants to have a hand in management, or whatever, he could go to the Patriots, which is still going to very much be the Kraft and Belichick show, or he can go to a team like the Bucs, where he did win a title, he does have the goodwill of the community, of the fan base, and because the team has historically not been great, he's going to have more freedom to do whatever it is that he wants to do. And
he can Derek Jeter the shit out of that team if he wants to.
I mean, it doesn't matter what he's going to do. The fact is, he's back for at least another year, and we all know he's going to circle jerk us around again this year. We've spent 18 minutes or whatever.
Well,
17 minutes and 30 seconds longer than needs to be.
I'm going to go one further. I'm going to piss off Andy further. I'm going to say I hope he comes back for 2023 just because I want to buy a Tom Brady creamsicle jersey.
It's fine. He can come. I mean, he's just going to keep coming back. I'm done. Let me know when we moved on. I will.
No, I'm with you. Let's move on. Let's go to Zach's trip to Disney. That will be far less.
I think we established it that basically Tom, as long as Tom Brady doesn't dick people around, like if he just tells you as soon as the season's over, yeah, I'm done, or yeah, no, I definitely want to come back, I don't care. Just don't. I don't want to do I don't want to do the song and dance.
No,
just do it or don't.
And same with you, Aaron Rodgers, and whoever else is trying to pull this shit. Enough already. Just
I mean, at the very least, it was all resolved rather quickly for both of them. Like yes, it's been a month, as we said with Tom Brady, but at least it's done. At least we know now we can.
Yeah, but Rodgers gets the contract signed, and he's like, "Well, hold on a minute, I didn't." It's like, just shut the fuck up.
Well, what did he do? He signed a contract, but he didn't sign the contract.
Who knows? Who cares? I'm with Andy.
He signed the He negotiated the contract to stay, but it hasn't been signed, or the terms that were reported aren't necessarily correct. It doesn't matter. He didn't need to tell us that. It would come out in the wash eventually. But the fact that he needs to go, actually, it's like, no, Aaron, shut up.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear from you.
You might get a tiny bit of goodwill with Packers fans by coming back for this year. And if you just shut your mouth, but nope, you couldn't do that. You gotta, and just whatever. Let's move on to something else. It's just, I just get ready to take a drink, guys. Fuck off, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Call us when you're going to do something. And until then, just fuck off. Simple as that.
I mean, really, all the quarterback stuff that we had questions about a few weeks ago is done now.
Russell Wilson, Denver Bronco.
Yeah, do we want to talk about that?
Has he showed up with a cowboy hat yet?
Well, that's the thing. He's still technically a Seahawk because the same thing that happened when the Rams traded for Stafford last year.
Yeah,
they can't. None of the teams can even talk about any of this stuff officially until the league year begins.
Right.
On what is it, March 7th? Like it's next week, right?
A few days. It's all this. It's all this basically arranged.
Like
the
Seahawks
great.
posted a GIF of the Castaway Wilson ball, and with Tom Hanks screaming out Wilson. They deleted it immediately because they cannot say anything about it.
So the trade has been agreed to, and it's a done deal. But legally, we all have to pretend it hasn't happened yet.
Pretty much.
We can do whatever we want. The Seattle Seahawks and anyone working for the NFL can't say anything.
Yeah,
like
what a fucking. But well, okay. So seeing as it's not official yet, we can talk about this. When Russell Wilson does show up in Denver, does he wear a cowboy hat?
Yeah, I think he has one in the trunk of his car already.
He's going to look like he's going to go to his first press conference wearing the outfit that Jim Carrey wore in Dumb and Dumber when he walked into the bar with that like puffy puffy coat and cowboy hat and gloves. He's just going to look like a total rube showing up, and
is he going to put on a fake accent?
I don't know, but if he does, it's a front runner for next year's GTOV.
Mike, Denver's not Texas. What are you talking about?
Well, it's Western. It's Western. They've got ranches.
You see, Mike or Zach, Mike, we all know that, but I think Russell Wilson was.
Yeah, Russell Wilson doesn't know that. Russell Wilson just knows the team's named after horses, and there's like a cow ranch, and there's like a ranch somewhere. So he's gonna. I think what Andy posted in the group chat's right. He's gonna show up. He's gonna be like, "Howdy, y'all. My name's Russell Wilson. You can call me Rusty."
Yeah. Anyway.
He'll pull up in like a 4x4 and,
I think he rides in on a horse. If he could find a way to do it, that fucker would ride a horse into the press conference. I guarantee it.
I'm one of you.
Yeah. Because you all ride horses, right? Hello, fellow kids.
Well, look, we got there's other stuff happening. I mean, like all of a sudden, Deshaun Watson is up for he's innocent, quote unquote. So now he can go play wherever.
Is he innocent or just merely not guilty? There's a difference.
Not guilty.
There's a difference.
Yeah. I think the difference is charges not being pursued.
Right.
Well, yeah,
not criminally charged with anything.
It's a case of like, you probably did some shady shit, but for whatever reason, it's just not prudent to prosecute you. So
well, I guess from what I was able to gather in cases like this, it is ultimately very hard to pursue that in court because it is such a he said she said situation where unless they have videotape of him doing any of these things, they can't take it through to the conclusion of a case because they just wouldn't get a verdict. So they either settle or drop it or just keep it as a civil suit and move on.
I mean, he pleaded the fifth for like 4 hours. Yeah. That's basically all that happened was he didn't incriminate himself. I mean, he clearly did something wrong.
I mean, look. I know it's everyone's constitutional right, but like, if you plead the fifth for 4 hours, you did some shit. All right, you did something.
At best, it's a really bad look to do that. At best.
Well, he's what's happening right now. It's really bizarre.
Basically, it's the equivalent of being a gangster in a 1930s movie, being like, you can't prove nothing. See, like it's like okay.
Well, like right now, Watson is interviewing. Like he's meeting with other teams like the Panthers and Saints, and like because he has to decide whether to waive his no trade clause. So he gets to basically choose where he goes. So the Panthers could offer like 3 firsts and a pile of whatever, and he could be like, I don't want to go there, and just blow the whole thing up. And I mean, considering that it's Houston, who's pretty much just ruined his career. I mean, he's ruined his own career, but Houston is just doing whatever Houston does right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's
only interested in players coming there that have accepted the Lord.
We'll see.
Well, what if he becomes born again, Deshaun Watson?
No. GTOV, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that I do anticipate a similar route to what happened with Roethlisberger after he got done with his bathroom blowjob rape thing.
Oh, what? Where he found Jesus and
yeah, typical, just like the Shawn Michaels route of like, I spoke with the Lord and I'm, my sins have been absolved.
I spoke to the Lord. The coke and womanizing was not me. That's not me anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, so Watson's going to be on the move. Trubisky is now the starting quarterback for the Steelers, whatever that means. That just happened.
Is he going to be the starter? Is he really going to be the starter?
Yeah, I mean, because what? They're going to start
Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph and the guy that used to play Jacoby Brissett, I think, is a Steeler, right?
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, well, I had to put my money in Brissett, I think, in that one.
Carson Wentz is now in where the hell they signed him to? Washington.
Washington, he's a commander.
He the first quarterback.
You might call him the field commander as the quarterback.
Yeah, no, you might.
No, we won't.
I probably won't, but yeah, you might.
It just a bunch of weird stuff happening. The Drew Lock in Seattle. I guess Seattle's trying to get. They're another team that's trying to get Deshaun Watson.
Well, they just lost their. They just lost Russell Wilson, so they need someone.
I'm not endorsing Deshaun Watson's behavior in any way, but how fucking hilarious would it be if they went from goody two shoes Russell Wilson in Seattle to Deshaun Watson? That's got to be a 180 that these fans are going to be like, well, we've got some real rationalization to go through.
Deshaun Watson ain't going to no children's hospitals. I'll tell you
that. When he takes the field, they should honor Seattle by playing Nirvana's "Rape Me" as the to really tie everything together. I'm trying to think what other quarterback stuff is happening.
I just want to say Mitch Trubisky is like the perfect Steelers quarterback name, I think.
That honestly, that worries me a little bit. Not a lot. Just there's a little part of my mind that goes, you know what? If there's one team that can take that guy off the fucking scrap heap and make a player out of him, it's probably those idiots.
Friend of the show McCarthy brought up a good point. First, he said Steelers devil magic is real.
It is.
Secondly, he said like this team still made the playoffs with like the burnt out husk of Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback.
Well,
is Mitch Trubisky really that much worse?
They still put up one of their patented winning records with a trio of Ben Roethlisberger, who got injured, Mason Rudolph, and Duck Devlin Hodges. Remember him?
Yeah.
Like this team can find its way around some stuff.
I mean, and keep in mind, this is the season where Ben Roethlisberger fell down when nobody touched him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Trubisky, he can't. I mean, Roethlisberger was pretty bad last year. So if Trubisky can, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I wouldn't completely write it off, is what I'm saying. I wouldn't look at it and go, yeah, well, they're just in a transition. I mean, you never know.
Although I do want to say one thing, which is, speaking of this whole playoff nonsense, Steelers made the playoffs. It brought back memories that the AFC 7th playoff seed was the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the NFC 7th playoff seed was the Philadelphia Eagles, both of which got absolutely dick kicked in their one and only appearance. So maybe can we go back to just 6 playoff temes per conference? Clearly, the 7th teams were not worthy to be there.
I'd sign up on that tomorrow, but that's not going to happen. We're going to
no, it's not going to happen. In fact, we're going to add even more baseball teams to the playoffs.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. But I don't know. As far as like other things going on in the NFL, Khalil Mack is a Charger.
That's fine.
That division becomes. I mean,
Bears? Are you doing okay, Bears? You doing okay?
No, they're doing just fine. And there's a lot of people saying dumbass shit about this trade.
Yeah,
don't know anything.
Yeah, I'm with Andy. I think that I don't think it's a. I mean, obviously, in the best possible world, you want to keep Khalil Mack if you can. But when the situation the Bears are in, that's a lot of money. Let him go. That's the way I look at it.
It's a different scheme defensively. He's on the wrong side of 30. He hasn't exactly been a transcendent god tier player worthy of that contract. He's been injured as fuck and nagging injuries, and last year finished on IR. They're going to open up a shitload of cap space the next couple of years. He serves no purpose now, but god damn, it's just like so many Madden general managers out there want to chime in and be like, "What? Look at the Bears getting fleeced. What a bunch of dumbasses." It's like it's almost like making fun of somebody for. It's like somebody's like, "Look at that book. It's such a big book." It's like, dude, you're illiterate. You don't, it's.
It was like the way the Bears fans that I saw reacted. You would have thought they traded like peak Richard Dent or peak Brian Urlacher or peak, Wilbur Marshall, one of those guys. It's like no. And this was, with the money and everything else, I thought it was the smart move for the Bears. And good luck, Chargers.
Yeah,
and he fits Khalil Mack is a good player, but he didn't live up to what he was supposed to be in Chicago, which may not totally be his fault. See how he performs as a Clipper.
I don't think the Bears, like if he goes to the Chargers and they get 2 good seasons out of him, I still think the Bears made the right move in this. I'm with Andy. I don't see what all the excitement's about.
Zach calling them the Clippers, I'm not entirely sure that wasn't just a slip of the tongue on his part.
No.
No, that was intentional.
Yeah. I'm just because I've actually accidentally referred to them as the Clippers before.
So here's the thing that I've been trying to tell people that have been pissing in my ear about this Mack trade. He was acquired by a general manager who is now fired. You hired a new general manager. He makes different decisions in talent evaluations than the previous, now fired general manager. So you literally hired this person to make different decisions as general manager. You're paying him to do this. And when he does it, you're fucking confused. It's his job. He's not there to just
what they return?
Second and a sixth. Which is, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. A second's good. Second's good to get.
Whatever. Look at Amari Cooper. He got traded for what, a 6th-round pick?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's with the Browns now, which
super weird.
I'm fine with it. I think it'll be okay, but it's like, does Amari Cooper really want to leave Dallas for Cleveland? I don't think so, but
I don't know if he wants to, but he didn't really have a choice.
I think he had a choice in the matter. It was either get traded or probably get cut because of money. But going back to Deshaun Watson for a second, I don't know about if it's going on in the rest of the world, but on Brown's Twitter and everywhere else, the big debate now is, do they cut loose Baker Mayfield to get Deshaun Watson?
Well, the question is, does Deshaun Watson want to go to Cleveland? That's
right,
because he's got a no trade clause.
Right, he wouldn't waive that to go to fucking Cleveland.
But I know, but the mental gymnastics that these people will go through, like, well, if it means a Super Bowl, we don't give a fuck if what he did to all these women, we don't care. Just as long as they win.
The delusions, man. It's all.
I know. I would rather, and I mean, I'm not going to for a second say that Baker Mayfield isn't even in the ballpark of talent as Deshaun Watson. But right now, I'd rather have Baker Mayfield because I just don't want the fucking headache with Deshaun Watson.
He's the devil,
Yeah,
that's.
And I'm willing to give the kid a break. He was hurt all last year. We'll give him one more. What are you going to do? What were you like that close to the Super Bowl and didn't make it? Fuck off. No, just let him play one more season. We'll see where we're at after that. That's what I think.
Yeah, and plus the way the division looks, obviously just the Bengals just played in the Super Bowl, but Lamar Jackson was up and down. The Steelers are going to be trying the Mitch Trubisky project. You're still very viable to be a playoff team at the very least.
Yep.
If you can keep your head screwed on straight for at least 8 or 9 games. So I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Plus, you keep all the wide receivers. You add Amari Cooper is very good. In theory, you still have all the offensive weapons in the world to get something done. Try to actually get something done. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And you just continue being the Browns and
Zach,
start all over again.
Clearly don't understand Cleveland football. Just get something done. That's not how it works here.
Well, I mean, either you try to get something done or you just be the Browns and you start all over again.
Asking them to just get something done, you might as well ask them to go to the moon.
I think getting them to the moon would be easier.
I have a quick question for you guys. How good do you think Christian Kirk is?
He's fine.
Yeah.
He's absolutely fine.
That's kind of an interesting segue, but
the reason I ask is because the Jaguars signed him to a 4-year, $84 million contract.
Well, the Jaguars are a dumb team that does dumb things.
The third highest paid wide receiver in football is now Christian Kirk.
Which is
he wasn't even the best wide receiver on the Cardinals. Like it. Am I remembering that right? I'm going to pull up their stats right now, but he didn't seem like
it was
whenever twice the Rams played him.
I
wasn't ever afraid of him.
There is not a conversation I could have imagined myself ever having before just now where I would have said that he is the third. What'd you say? The third highest paid wide receiver?
Paid, in football now.
Yeah, I don't know any universe in which that happens, and except probably this one. I just can't see it.
There are going to be other signings. There might be another big wide receiver contract that usurps that shortly, but I mean, I doubt it.
So for the 2021 NFL season, he played in all 17 games for the Cardinals. He was 27th in the league in yards. He was not in the top 50 in catches. If I could, let's see if I can even find where he was in catches.
But basically, he's an unspectacular, talented, unsexy stats.
My thing didn't highlight. He was 24th in catches. As I said, 21st in yards.
Like we said,
27th in yards.
He's just fine, above average.
Fine.
But $18 million a year? No.
Yeah, and I guess he did lead the Cardinals, but that's only because DeAndre Hopkins was injured, and so was AJ Green at one point, right? So
I mean, good for him. Make your money when you can make it. I'm all for that, but I don't know that if I'm running the Jacksonville Jaguars, if I'm throwing out that kind of cash for that dude. I just think that for the production he gives you, you could probably find two guys that would cost a third as much and get the same numbers out of it, I guess would be my point.
For reference, the other guys that were slightly below him were Devontae Smith and DK Metcalf. Slightly above him are guys like Marquise Brown, Jalen Waddle, Kyle Pitts, Mike Evans, Brandon Cooks.
That feels
Brandon
fair.
Cooks on the Houston Texans had more yards than he did last year.
Feels
Which for reference, 982.
Just shy of 1,000. That spot makes sense for him. The money doesn't.
Yeah,
right.
It feels very much. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's got to be just you're the Jaguars. You have to pay that much.
I guess.
Yeah, that's that's the opposite of the home.
You want more weapons for what's his face?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor
Lawrence, and he's a fine young wide receiver. So
yeah, I mean, maybe this is a matter of like you get the hometown discount. This is the Jacksonville premium that you have to pay to get somebody to play there. I mean, I don't know. I'm only half joking when I say that.
Jacksonville. Okay, here's the problem with Jacksonville. Is that you don't even have the fallback of, it's Florida, so you're going to at least be somewhere nice. Jacksonville is a dive. Like, Jacksonville is a grade A fucking dive.
The bridge is nice.
Like, I imagine...
the bridge is nice. That's it. But, yeah.
It's probably like when Tracy McGrady was being, being driven around Orlando, and it's like, look at that over there. It's just Orlando.
Orlando is nicer than Jacksonville, and it's not even close.
Not even close. I'm with you. Yeah, I agree, Mike, completely. But
Orlando,
Jacksonville. My goal when I go through Jacksonville, my goal is to get through Jacksonville. That's it.
Jacksonville kind of mind fucked me when I went there last, because it's this weird. I've lived in Florida. I've lived in the Midwest, Southern Ontario, and Jacksonville is like both of those places at once.
Yeah.
The Floridian Midwest. That's a place to be.
It feels like a Midwestern town, but there is like the occasional palm tree.
Well,
sure. That's what they always say, Jacksonville, the Cleveland of Florida.
It is!
Alligators on fire. It's great.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing where basically you drive the free agent around and you have the windows rolled up and tinted, and they're like, here's there's Jacksonville. We got some stuff here and stuff over there, and it's like, yeah, okay, how much you could pay me to come here?
No. What you do, Andy, is you roll up those windows, and on the inside of the windows is an LED screen with Miami rolling by it. And you just say, "Hey, this is the Florida coast.
Right?
Don't you want to live here?" And you don't tell them otherwise.
Scarface playing.
what's it? The TPC Sawgrass is there. That's a very nice golf course.
Yeah, they were just playing that this weekend.
No,
Yeah.
that's
Although
actually
it was rainy and windy and floody.
I mean,
Well,
if you can offer, like, Chicago is damn good golf courses, but I mean, if you can, even if your city blows, but you have really good golf courses, that's actually a fine selling point, I think, for a lot of players. They would totally, that's a maybe not for current players. I don't know if like the like latest generation or two of rookies is like into golf, but I mean, I feel like that'd be a good selling point.
well,
It's probably you could play year round there where you probably couldn't in Chicago.
another, you're only 45 minutes north of St. Augustine, which is really a really neat little town. So I don't know if you could get a free agent based on, well, they got a good golf course and St. Augustine's an hour away, but that's what I can tell you.
St. Augustine is a really cool place to visit. It is also, unfortunately, a tourist trap if you want to see the Fountain of Youth. Because that's the big thing. That's the big thing is St. Augustine has the Fountain of Youth. And it is the biggest. It is one of the biggest wastes of time I've ever experienced.
And let me tell you something else. It doesn't work. Just saying.
Greg's like I fucking shotgunned that shit.
They gave me a glass of water from the alleged Fountain of Youth. My hair was jet black when I drank that shit, and it ain't jet black today. I'll tell you that. So it does not work. So I don't remember, Mike. Did they charge for that? I don't remember.
Yes, they do.
It's not very much, so it's not like a buck.
No, it's like $5, but yeah. Not only that, because the Fountain of Youth is actually like it smells of sulfur, which is not like it's got it.
Yes.
But not like but it's not it's but you see the thing about it is it's not overwhelming. It's just like it just has like a bit of a sulfury smell to it. So
it's well water.
Yeah, so
smells
so essentially it's not even like an interesting smell. It's just more like this smells vaguely like old eggs or farts.
What an interesting smell you've discovered.
Basically, yeah.
Zach, major props for the Cleveland of Florida. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, Jacksonville, the Cleveland of Florida. There.
What makes it funny is it's pretty appropriate, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so we want to move on to, we've got Sweet 16 GTOV results we got to get to at some point tonight.
We've also got the baseballs.
Yeah, so we want to do the baseball first, or should we do the GTOV so that the people that are listening to get the results don't waste another 40 minutes, or how do we want to do this?
Yeah, we can let's do GTOV, just get it done. Yeah.
All right.
Get that done before we lambaste baseball.
Yeah, right.
I mean, get very excited for the upcoming MLB season.
Okay. I wish I could. I really do. I really wish I
162 games of pure pleasure.
Yeah. If you've got one of those screensavers, looks like an aquarium, just waste your time on that.
And most of the teams are making the playoffs. So
right. Get ready for the big matchup between the 73-win Pittsburgh Pirates and the 76-win Giants.
Technically speaking, a lot of playoff droughts will be broken.
Yeah, that's true.
So good.
Right,
but we'll get there. Let's get to the GTOV.
GTOV Sweet 16. This was a much more competitive round than the first round was, guys. Just tell you that right out of the gate. So with the exception of one just serious ass kicking, which I'm really kind of surprised by, but we'll get to it. So
before we start, I was able to listen in to the results last week.
Yeah.
I demand justice for Therm Scissor Punch. This is a travesty, and
you're just getting started, dude. Just I'll tell you. That.
Oh no!
I voted for Thorm. I voted for Thorm, but he didn't come through.
There was a score in this round that I think that if we could make a really good case, we should just stop the damn tournament at this point. I really do. Yeah.
No.
So Greg, this is Greg. You're just going to need a few minutes to just fire upon the voters for their decision.
I think
Greg, are you saying this is the last glorious tournament of victory we're ever going to do?
I'm saying that I think that I've seen it, so the shock isn't as much to me as it was when I first saw it. I think you guys are going to be pretty unhappy with the voters when you hear one of these scores. I'm just
all right. Well, Well, let's get to it. Let's get to it then.
Here we go. Sentinel Prime region, Memorial Region of Excellence. Number 1 seed, Ukrainian Sunflower Grandma taking on Saskatoon School Moose. Close, fairly close match here.
This is one that I admit I have divided feelings on. This is to steal a line from Zach. This is like, two of my children. Which one do I love more?
This was a tough one to vote.
It's a Sophie's choice.
That's definitely hard.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure who I'm not sure who I want to win. I guess I could just say this would be one of those matchups where I'm just really, you know what? I was just looking for a good game.
Well, it's a pretty good game. Pretty good game. Pretty good. Anybody else? You want me to just give the score?
Score, please.
Go for it.
Number 1 seed, Ukrainian Sunflower Grandma, 17. Saskatoon School Moose, 13.
Oh.
Tight one. Moves on. Quite one, yeah. Good matchup. And in our other matchup, I think a tournament favorite at this point, Ricky LaFleur, Arizona Coyotes landlord, taking on Deep Hurting Smashville.
I'm hoping that Deep Hurting wins, I guess. Just because it's such an atrocity that I need more people to recognize.
Not only is it an atrocity, did you guys see the giant inflatable Deep Hurting jersey?
Oh, God, really?
Yeah.
They wore them inside the other day, which is gross.
Yeah, so apparently I didn't see this at the time, but for that Winter Classic outdoor game, they had a giant inflatable Smashville jersey.
Well, it was easy to do the graphics for the vinyl or whatever they make those balloons out of, so I can see why they.
And yeah,
I don't know. I saw the damn thing. They were, like Zach said, they wore it indoors. It was like, that's embarrassing. I mean, you're an NHL hockey player and you got to put that thing on.
Well,
it looks gross.
The rec leagues have better jerseys than that.
It is, to quote Twitter, when that jersey was unveiled, we all owe the New Jersey Devils an apology.
Yeah, the jerseys way better than that.
I turned on the Ducks Devils game for a second the other day, and they were wearing their jerseys. Still bad.
Yeah, they're not good. They are not good.
Well, I need a quick sidebar for a second while we're talking about uniforms in hockey. I was watching Calgary, and who were they playing the other night? Tampa, because Stamkos and Sean Monahan got in a hell of a fight. Well, I shouldn't say that. Steven Stamkos kicked the living shit out of Sean Monahan. But anyway, the Calgary Flames were not wearing any ads on their helmets. And is that like a thing with them where they couldn't get one, or how does that work?
Yeah, they don't have one yet.
Okay, so it looked a lot better, I'll say that, than Tampa's did with the what was it? On it?
It's only a matter of time.
Yep.
But I gotta say,
Alberta Beef puts a logo on the helmet.
All right. Anyway, so we're back to the GTOV, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Ricky LaFleur, Arizona Coyotes landlord, taking on Deep Hurting Smashville, the worst jersey in the history of jerseys. Maybe. Not even close. Ricky LaFleur just all over the jersey. It was 27-3.
Wow, holy shit.
Blow out of the tournament so far, yeah.
Wow. You know what? Ricky LaFleur, Coyotes landlord, that's going to be very hard. I think he's going to be hard to beat.
No, it's all chalk in Mike's region after this. Number 1 versus number 2 in the next round. But the 3 of you that voted for that Deep Hurting Smashville jersey, you should be ashamed of yourselves. You just should.
I think you just don't know what the Trailer Park Boys is, or don't understand the portmanteau we're making there.
I was one of them. I don't know anything about Trailer Park Boys.
Oh my! You guys are missing out one of the great shows. You just try it out. Give it a go.
I'll get there eventually. Yeah.
It's Mike. Would you say it's safe to say that Trailer Park Boys has a very Bass feel to it?
I would say so. Yeah. I think you guys would like it if you gave it a shot.
I do too. I really do. I think you would, because I was the same way when I first saw it and saw the premise to it and all that. I thought, this is going to be so stupid.
Okay, so before we move on, just because I found it, I'm going to post in the private chat here, the Deep Hurting Smashville giant balloon jersey.
Burn it down. Just embarrassing.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's. I didn't think you could make it worse.
Look how sad. Like the Lightning fans don't want to look at it. Like, don't look at it, son.
pushing the children by. Don't like. No.
Why did the balloon graphic include the stitching for like the shoulder seams?
Honestly, they probably had to stitch the balloon together at that point, so why not? I don't know.
It just looks so sad too, like the way that the arms are kind of drooping. Like I don't know, the whole thing is just a fucking disaster.
As a general thing, this goes for all hockey teams. Why is this the go-to for your big outdoor, not just outdoor hockey games, but any outdoor fan fest or whatever? Just hey, big blow-up hockey jersey. It's like it's never looked good. It's never looked good.
Yeah, whatever.
Wacky waving inflatable arm jersey. Do that.
That would be better, probably. Anyway, God, that thing is just. I'm not gonna go off on it, but what just an absolute utter lack of creativity that went into that. Just
it looks worse in person too. It's just a disaster.
How did that get past anyone? Wasn't one of those fucks on the boards works at Adidas, right?
Yeah.
How did this get?
By the way, this gave me a great idea. We should do for our draft shitty jerseys. Or shitty.
Yes.
Jerseys.
No. Yeah, I'm all over that. I'm all over. That's right up my alley.
Yeah. God, we've got.
We would be voting on who has the worst lineup overall or the best lineup overall.
Your goal is to pick the worst. Like that thing would be a number one pick overall.
Oh yeah,
out of the gate. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Jeez. That's
all right.
Let's move on to the goddamn Batman Memorial region. Number 1 seed, Born Again Thanos, taking on number 4 seed, Pizza Dumpster Blob.
This is the one spot that I have fear for Born Again Thanos. This could be the trip up game for him. If the dough was too powerful and engulfed him whole.
I will say this was the closest match of the round as far as I can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
It makes no sense to me. None.
Well, I mean, how close? I mean, don't
that's the thing. For fuck's sake, people, how can like you vote for everything except one? You missed one. This one's only got 29 votes versus 30 for everybody else. How does that happen?
I think if you scroll through the thing, sometimes you scroll past one too quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't think the Survey Monkey system isn't the best. There's got to be isn't there a way to like require people to vote for everything?
I know I have to set it up so that you can't vote more than once because we had that happen 4 or 5 years ago where I forgot to set that and we were getting like
anyway.
We can do like a Google survey next year.
Yeah, we'll do something different next year. But
the Google ones are extremely easy.
Yeah, because I use this one because we have an account there. And that's why I use it. That's it. That's nothing. I'm not like married to it or anything.
No big deal.
Anyway, final score in this one, a 1-point game, which I find just absolutely ridiculous. But fortunately for you all and for anyone else listening that doesn't care about this, I'm not going to go on a 20-minute rant because you fucks voted Pizza Dough Dumpster Blob in over Born Again Thanos. He won it by 15-14. So Born Again Thanos, we'll move on.
That's
a tough one.
Yeah, I'm glad he won though. That's too good of a candidate to lose to a fucking Pizza Blob in the dumpster.
Well, I don't know what this says about my life. My girlfriend and I were talking about this GTOV today, and I'm going on about like Zach always has this one great candidate in his bracket every year, and somehow some fucking stupid thing comes along and knocks it off. And I was talking about this matchup that the Pizza Blob almost pulled it off. Up next, number 2, Florida man Trash Can Gator Wrangler taking on Golf Course Goose Guardian. Well, this is an easy one, man. The trash can guy just like put the goose in the trash can. That was the end of it, right?
That's what I would think. Yeah. That was my logic.
Yeah, not even close. Trash Man moves on easily. 22-8 is the final. So I'll chalk in Zach's region too, 1 and 2.
Okay. I still think that it favors Thanos next time, but who knows? Florida candidates always seem to go far.
Well, if you can see the video of what this guy did, and I've got to, maybe now that we're down to like 8, I can actually like link to everything that as many as we can and show what they really are.
Well, and think about it. If this guy could wrangle a gator in Florida with a trash can, what could he do to a kind-hearted Infinity Gauntlet-less Thanos?
Oh, piece of cake. Yeah. Moving on to my region, the Rip from the Headlines region. Number 1 seed, the Ghost of Kiev, depending on how you want to say it, versus number 4 seed, Bishop Sycamore, not a high school. Any prediction?
Can't bomb what's not there.
That's true.
It just depends
Ghost
on.
of Kiev never swindled ESPN.
Yeah, I think I'm imagining that the high school probably won because I feel like the Ghost of Kiev is a little bit more. I don't know.
I think he's already fallen off the front pages.
Yeah,
I think
he's conceptual. He's more conceptual than an unrealistic high school, than a non-existent high school.
Yeah, I mean, he's already been overtaken in the Ukrainian war memes by gypsy tank wranglers and tractor armies and
the fact that the Russian paratroopers are now jumping out of planes with parachutes that don't work.
That would suck.
Dropping to their fucking death. What a bunch of dumbasses. A shitty army.
Because
anyway.
it was revealed that it's like, yeah, this is what happens when you don't maintain your fucking equipment. It doesn't work.
Oh my God. Maintain your Soviet era equipment. Yeah.
Driving their fucking tanks in a straight line. This is stupid. Just dumbass.
In Mother Russia, parachute follow you.
I saw one meme. It was like it showed like this really intricate tank formation, and it was like American tank formation. There was like Russian tank formation, and it's all of them in a straight line. It's just called traffic jam.
My dad was a paratrooper in the Army back in the 50s, and he made 92 jumps. And I used to ask him, "Were you ever afraid that the chute wouldn't open?" And he was always like, "Every time, but once you're out, you're out." So
you're out. So also, I would guess I'm just gonna guess that the United States Army probably better maintains their shit than
especially back then, for sure.
Enough money for it to be,
yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, he always used to joke. He's like, "I went up with an airplane 92 times before I ever came down with one," which I don't think was quite true, but yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
I just imagine a lot of Wile E. Coyote moments where they pull the cord and just like keep pulling and waiting for something to happen.
It's like
pull the cord, pulls out a sign attached to a stick that says "Dos Vidania."
Oh, you know what? Speaking of my dad, I'll have to put Chimp Paratrooper in the tournament next year.
I mean, the chimp on our logo is a soldier. So
yeah, well, you know what? Real quick sidebar here, but when my dad was jumping, they were doing like an experiment with a chimp, and he goes, "That chimp jumped like 15 times perfectly. On the 16th time, he decided to climb up the whatever they call the wires that come down, or the ropes or whatever they are that come down from the chute." He goes, he climbed up it, and the chute like folded into itself. Well, that was that. So I don't know.
Oh no.
Yes.
So wait a second. If it worked 15 times, why were you sending the chimp back up a 16th time? Did the
Dude, it's the Army. Fuck, who knows why they do what they do, you know?
I think after maybe the third time at that point, it's just like, shit, man, we got this monkey for the afternoon. Let's get the most out of it.
I'm thinking at that point, he's just going, fuck it, let's let the chimp go again because it's fun to watch. I don't know. But yeah, I climbed up the I forget what they're called. The strings that come down from the parachute to your harness and all that. And he just started like climbing them, and it was like, when he got up there, the chute just like, well, fuck this, and it folded up, and off he went. That was that. So, I think maybe next year Paratrooper Chimp makes the disastrous Paratrooper Chimp. I don't know. Anyway, did I give the score on this, or we? Okay. Number 1 seed, the first one to go down in the tournament, Bishop Sycamore, not a high school, takes down the Ghost of Kiev, 17-13.
Yeah,
is this the one that you got upset about, or is...
No, I read it wrong. I thought Thanos lost to the Pizza Blob, but he actually won. So
okay.
That. So the listeners are spared for this week. So, and in my other matchup, it was a Florida Chimp taking on, why did I ever put this thing in the tournament? Nancy Reagan Throat Goat.
Throat Goat's got to be the winner there. I mean,
Throat Goat.
Another one where the voting was, we were off by 1. I don't know why. I kind of understand that one. I wouldn't have voted for this one either. But yeah, so that's your matchup. Florida Chimp.
Well, who won?
I haven't said yet.
Oh, okay.
I just said the vote was off by 1 again. It was only 29 out of 30.
I had to explain the context of this to Alex over the last week. She was like doing the voting. She's like, I didn't understand the context of this, but I voted for it the other day, but I didn't know. Can you tell me so I know what I'm voting for next week? And I was like, well, what you see happen was, so she voted for it again. That says anything.
Anybody else want to throw any input in before I give the score here?
Nah, go for it.
Nancy Reagan throat goat moves on. Take that. Look, a lot closer than you thought it would have been though. 16-13. She loses. So the matchup for my next round: Bishop Sycamore, not a high school, taking on Nancy Reagan throat goat. She's going to take it all the way to the Final Four.
I'm hoping Nancy Reagan throat goat wins the whole goddamn thing. So like, Greg has to be ashamed of his own winner.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, it's going to be my luck that she's going to win the whole thing, and I'll have to live with that. Anyway, moving on to Andy's region, Peanut Butter's good region. We had number 1 seed Jackson Mahomes and Brittany Matthew rocket launcher versus Hanks the Tanks, the obese bear trio.
You could actually call her Brittany Mahomes now. They got married over there.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. We've had a change in. There's Paratrooper Chimp popping up on Andy's avatar there. Yeah. So Andy's neither match in Andy's region was particularly close. I'll just tell you guys that.
Okay. Well, did the Mahomes launcher get derailed, or did it fight on?
Yeah, it got derailed pretty easily. The Hanks the Tanks took it out 23-7.
So here's the thing. I don't want to hear it from you people if the Mahomes family does stupid shit next year. You had your chance. And you chose the fat bears.
No. The voters chose to not endorse your
bribery. Your bribery.
Which is fair. I respect that.
And in the other matchup, lewd 1950s chimp pornographer taking on cowboy Ronald McDonald.
I just love this chimp. This might be one of my favorite chimps we ever had.
Yeah.
He's from the creepy chimp conference. I'm thinking this is just a straight up chimp conference entry here. He's like right with the rest, But yeah, this one wasn't particularly close either.
I mean, I'm hoping that the lewd chimp pornographer moved on.
Chimp pornographer with an easy win, second biggest margin of the second round, 24-6 over cowboy Ronald McDonald.
Good. Very good.
So we have an animal final in Andy's region. Hanks the Tanks taking on chimp pornographer. That's about as GTOV as it gets. And there you go. That's a Sweet 16.
Okay.
Do the voting and all that. It'll have it all set up tomorrow for you. It'll be a real easy one link, and off you go.
And remember, everyone, Nancy Reagan throat goat.
Yeah. That one. Make me proud. I'm a little better with it because I'd forgotten what inspired the whole thing, and then we talked about it last week. I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually a pretty good story. So the egregious 8 will be Born Again Thanos taking on, who was it again? Oh, Florida Man Trash Can Gator Wrangler. Bishop Sycamore, not a high school, will be taking on Nancy Reagan Throat Goat. Hank the Tanks takes on the chimp pornographer. So this is going to be, shaping up pretty good. And that's that.
Okay.
GTOV Glory Tournament Victory Sweet 16.
Dong.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, should we do the baseball thing?
Sure.
So
yeah. So after
baseball.
99 days, they finally agreed to say, "Oh yeah, 162 game season. We should do that."
Whatever.
Okay, so here's the bones of the deal, if you will. The luxury tax threshold increases and will continue to increase over the next 5 years.
Mike puts up Nancy Reagan.
above the luxury tax threshold, there's a new penalty tier they've added for if you go even higher above the thing before. Minimum salary is up to $700K, up from $575. More money in the free arbitration bonus pool, and there are now 12 teams in the postseason, 6 per league, which means we get a full-on wild card round all around starting this year.
Now, are they still doing the pick your opponent and play a
No.
game of Yahtzee? And no, that's not going to happen now.
No. As
Well,
far as I can
that's
tell.
good, I guess.
Well, and then, of course, as we said, or also universal DH. No DH in the National League anymore.
Yeah, it's probably.
And
I don't
then,
like it, but it's about time.
Jersey and helmet ads.
I forgot about this.
Fuck.
And then, as part of the agreement, the league gained the power to implement rule changes for the 2023 season, including a pitch clock, restrictions on defensive positioning, and the installation of larger bases.
What are the bases supposed to? What's that all about?
They're supposed to encourage base stealing.
Oh, bullshit.
Because what's happened now is like, guys don't want to steal bases anymore because there's the possibility that you might get out, and if you get out, then you can't score when they hit a home run after you, right? So they want to try to get more people to steal bases and encourage that type of baseball. But that's not something that's starting this year. That's something the league could start to put in 2023.
How did Zach's trash pickup not make the GTOV, by the way? How did that happen?
It'll get there. It's
all right.
The rule changes don't bother me too much because I feel
I just noticed your avatar is the fucking chimp now. Jesus.
Yeah, there you go.
Fuck the name too.
He's encouraging the model. Oh yeah, honey, that's it. You're gonna be a big star. Big star. The rule changes. Baseball, and rule changes, whatever. It needs to happen. I'd rather them experiment and do weird stuff. The ads, they blow. There's no two ways about it. They're just terrible.
Yeah.
But it's inevitable. However, what really pisses me off about this whole experience was baseball's ownership. Oh, we're just so poor. We none of us have any money. Please. It's just the saddest song they could possibly.
You're all billionaires, for fuck's sake! Like
this bunch of assholes crying poor and just fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, that was my thing with the entire negotiations as well, because the players kept coming out. Most notably, guys like Max Scherzer. Every time the MLB would make a statement, being like, "Oh, we offered them a deal, and the players just voted it down again." I don't know what to tell you. And it's like, no, you're the one that locked them out, my guys.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have to agree to anything, truthfully, because you're the one that told them they weren't playing. So this is on you not wanting to pay more money. Mm-hmm. And so you wanted to hold out and try to weasel your way through this, which was never going to happen. The thing that I find the most interesting about this, too, is the way the voting broke down, because usually when in any sort of union negotiation, the executive board that argues these things on the in lieu of the rest of the players, they kind of set the tone, or they follow with what the majority of the body wants. The entire executive board of the players union, all 8 players, voted against this deal, but the majority of the player reps for the teams voted for it, and so it passed, and which has never happened in any of these negotiations before, where the general body voted against the leadership of the union to approve the deal.
That is kind of strange, right?
Yeah,
that's a weird. What was the position of the 8? Were they hardliners, or what was the story?
I think they were hardliners, but I think what this shows is that they were fighting for more and more stuff from the owners, whereas the rest of the players were like, "Hey, yeah, we already got what we wanted." Like, because the executive board is made up of star players, guys like Max Scherzer and etc. And so, like, they think that they're championing themselves for the younger players or underpaid guys, and the underpaid guys are like, "Man, I already got like $100,000 plus raise in this thing, so I'm good. And then if we can play the full season, I'd like to vote on this deal right now and just take my $100K and move on and fight the rest of this a different day."
What is the league minimum right now? Last I heard,
$575.
All right, you know what?
So now it automatically moves up to $700K next year.
Wow. That's like if you're the worst, the 26th scrub on the bench, you're making almost $1 million a year to play baseball.
Yeah.
Like seven.
It's not bad if you're a scrub.
No, I've always said this too. It's like if you play your cards right and you play like a typical 5-year major league career, even if you hit 130 and don't do anything, and no one remembers you when you're done, you still walk away with 2.8 or whatever it be, like $3.5 million for 5 years. That's not bad. I'd do that. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just I'm glad they got it worked out, but I think that until you fix the game itself, I don't know.
Well, I think that's what the rule changes are potentially supposed to try to do, right? Because I mean, I am actually pleasantly surprised that the owners even said, "Yeah, we're going to consider a pitch clock."
Yeah, that's a must. First,
that's a good sign because, like, I thought Major League Baseball would be kicking and screaming, refusing to implement that. But
and the bigger basis thing, I mean, I guess I understand it. That I really don't, and I don't think the stat nerds are ever going to let you steal bases ever again. They're just not. That's one of the few things I agree with. You're kind of giving up an out on a 70-30, 50-50 shot, whatever.
I mean, they got to do something, you know. I mean, the bases are not significantly bigger. Like, they're bigger, but it's also one of the things to when you're watching it on TV or you're watching it from the stands, you're not gonna notice.
Well, I guess my question is, what does a bigger base make you want to steal? I mean, what is the incentive there?
Well, okay,
so you can get there quicker.
You get like more for your money. Is that how it works? What?
Well, what is the bigger crime? Increasing
the other thing that, for the record, it's also larger bases for health and safety purposes. I guess
I
part of it.
I get that. Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, there's to me the bigger crime was putting the Spider-Man logo on the side of the base. Like that was to me an infinitely larger sin. Mm-hmm. So this doesn't bother me at all. Like if they made the ball bigger, maybe that'd be fucked up. I guess.
Well, if you're gonna make the ball bigger, you might as well just change to slow pitch softball.
I mean, if you make the ball bigger, then that fundamentally changes the entire game because guys are used to throwing a ball of a certain size, and
Well, because I don't think that. Sorry, I don't think that baseball is so broken. Like I know a lot of people think that baseball is just a dead game. It's a dying game. Baseball is just baseball, and it's trying to like tap into that NFL type revenue stream and get the audiences to be. You're not going to do it. Like eventually, baseball is just going to continue to just be baseball and plod along, and people will still watch it. People will still go to it.
Because it's a weird dichotomy, right? Where you think that the more exciting baseball game would be to increase offense or get people to like take chances and to create more offense. But anybody that's been to a baseball game knows that a 12-10 game is infinitely longer than a 3-1 game.
Yeah,
just because of the black of the clock. So I think they're at that weird thing where the thing that needs to be fixed the most is just the simple pace of play.
Right.
Which the pitch count goes a long way to doing that. And I think if they want to increase the pace of play and encourage stolen bases and things like that, you have to start limiting the pitch outs, the throwovers.
Yeah.
But that's tricky because then if you know that all you have to do is waste the guy's 2 or 3 throwovers and then you can just go steal the base whenever the hell you want, then that kind of messes with the strategy of the game too.
Yeah, you got to fine tune it though. I mean, even if this season, even if they implement a rule where you limit the amount of throwouts to first base or whatever, like eventually some team is going to find a way to exploit it and churn out a bunch of runs by stealing bases. But that's why they play. They have to hone in where these things work, how they're broken, and what they do or do not bring to the game. And if there's any sport where they have the depth in terms of leagues and the quantity of games to experiment, it's this one. It's not like the NFL to where like taunting, that was just sort of a nonsense, silly circus shit thrown in there in over 17 games. It's like, no. What the hell are you doing with this shit?
I would hope too, if you limit the throwovers, that maybe pitchers would then choose to be more selective about when they throw over rather than just doing it every time somebody takes a half step outside the fucking base path. Like, nothing infuriates me more than a pitcher throwing over to a base 3 times in a row when it's just throw the damn ball. Just throw the damn ball, get a ground ball, get out of here. Like, don't make us all sit here and look at you try to play a mind game with the man on first base. Nobody cares. Put the ball in play, please.
I would be okay with the throwovers and all that if you could just find a way, because none of this stuff is brand new. The throwovers, the pickoff attempts, none of that. It's that it's the time that the pitch clock will do. I don't know if you guys have been to a minor league game where they've had a pitch clock, but it does wonders for the pace of the game. Just does wonders for it. And I think if you pick up the pace of the game, the rest will take care of itself. Now you're still going to have the 3 true outcome people with the walk, strikeout, or home run, which that's hurting the game as far as from an entertainment standpoint. From a stat standpoint, I guess I sort of get it. But from an entertainment standpoint, you've got to have more to it than just home run, strikeouts, and walks. I mean, some people like to see a double that drives in a run or a triple or, 3 singles in a row and stuff like that. I don't know how you fix that part.
But that's just the mean. That's it. Like, to me, there's like, you can't mechanize baseball to where like the 3 true outcome thing. I get it. It's sort of become like a buzz demonized term to like, oh, baseball's got this problem. They got the 3 true outcomes. Well, just give it a while, because if you instill the pitch clock, you'll have pitchers shortening their motions. They'll change. They'll get the pitch to the ball more hastily. And I think a lot of guys are going to understand that you might get paid a shitload more to not hit home runs. Like, there's going to be some guys who the market will suddenly shift to where they're like, hey, we need guys who can steal bases and get on because we figured out how to exploit XYZ. And the game will kind of get away from some of this stuff. But I mean, it takes time. Yeah. And
I think you're right. I think if you change the pace of play, changes a lot of this, because you're not going to have a pitcher who has time to sit there and get the grip exactly the way he wants it with the spin rate and all that. The hitters aren't going to have time to sit there and try to figure out their launch angle and all the other stuff. You just have to get in there and hit. And that might be a big difference. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. I hope so. It's what do you guys? I saw a guy did a video a while back where he did all these rule changes, and 2 that I really liked were move the mound back 1 foot or 6 inches, whichever. And the other one was, oh God, what was the other one? It was a really good one. Oh, make the ball slicker so it's harder to get like the grip where you can get that crazy spin that the pitchers are getting on it right now.
Well, that's the grip with the ball stuff. That a lot of that sadly has to go to like pitchers cheating. You have to try to stop players from cheating because they're all cheating. Like, it's just a matter of like, hey, we've cured the exterior leather of the ball with some sort of acetone or something that like makes the pine tar or any sort of
it's the blubber from the deer that Ray Lewis killed for the antler for the antler hormones. Yeah.
See, and all of you against deer hunting, you had no idea that a deer was able to do all this. And
you can get Ray Lewis going crazy. You can cheat at baseball,
and you get a pretty decent steak and some good sausage out of it if it's done right. I'm just saying.
I gotta say, the first time I ever had venison sausage, I did not know what to expect. It was delightful.
Isn't it great?
It's really good. Yeah.
I mean, you got to. People will fuck it up because they don't know what they're doing, but if you get it done right, it's delicious, man.
I had it at a really nice. I had it at a really nice restaurant just by the Rogers Center in Toronto.
Okay.
So
my cousin used to make it. It was funny. He didn't hunt deer, but he made this really good deer sausage. Like, I don't know, but
so yeah, if anyone's ever in the vicinity of the Rogers Center in Toronto and you're looking for deer sausage,
very specific.
All right.
Look for a fancy sausage place. I forget the name of it, but it was like a high-end sausage emporium.
And if you're listening, sausage place in Toronto for a little bit of money, we'll remember that name.
Fuck. We'll name a segment after you. The sausage segment.
We just conveniently forgot your name because we're not getting.
Well, I forgot the name because it was fucking 8 years ago, and I can't. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to remember random sausage place before a Jays game.
Right. But yeah, but back to the baseball thing, though. I mean, I really do think, and it's too bad they've got to wait till next year, because I think that the major problem the game has is the pace of play. That's the hardest part for me. It's just like I watch a game and it just drags on and on and on, and just speed it up and I'll be okay.
Just a bit. You don't need to like gut it and make it into something it's not, because I mean, it's baseball. It's like It's like the extreme golf or something. You don't want to make golfers just like get into a sports car between holes or like have some sort of weird rally where they just run their asses off trying to get to the next hole.
What do you mean? I would love all that stuff if they did that in golf. I'd probably watch it.
It's a leisurely, leisurely sport.
But there's leisurely and there's watching paint dry, and that's what baseball's become. I'm going to do this. Actually, I'm going to do this because I want to see it for myself. And I'm going to post it in the baseball thread on the boards. But I'm going to do a video where I do side by side of an at bat from like 1981 versus today.
Oh, it's gonna for maximum effect. Make sure that that at bat from today is from a Yankees Red Sox game.
Right. I'm going to put them side by side, and I promise you, after 10 seconds, the one on the you're just going to be watching black on the left because the other one's still going to be going on.
Well,
that's
like the at bats are slow, and then as we said, there's nothing going on the base path anymore. So there's nothing happening in between swings. So it's kind of
that's.
We talked about it a couple of weeks ago when we all said that we were fans of small ball, and like that's what that is. It's stealing bases, it's hit and runs, it's all that sort of stuff, and bunts, yeah. And I think the more interesting thing that they're trying to take out is the shift. Now, I don't know how I feel about them actually legislating that. I just would have liked the game to naturally stop doing it.
Right.
Yes. But if teams are going to continue to do it, then I guess you have to tell them to stop doing it. But it feels wrong to have to be written in stone.
Yeah.
But it also feels like something they need to do.
You have to
rather than having like a fourth outfielder catch everything.
Yeah, here's my thing though. I think you're a major league hitter, okay? And if they're putting a shift on you and you can't hit around it, it's on you to figure out how to hit the ball the other way. I don't know if this is true or not. I don't have any historical evidence to back this up, but I thought I'd heard before that Ted Williams, they used to do the shift on him. So he just started knocking the ball down the left because, he's Ted fucking Williams, but he would knock the ball to left field. And after a few times, they're like, well, we can't do that anymore. That's the simple solution.
Yeah, if you're the seventh guy in the batting order, you're not Ted Williams.
No, but you can still bunt. You can still bunt. Like if the shift is to the right side, to the second base side, you bunt it down the third base line and get a double. I mean, there are ways to do this without legislating it. And as much as I hate that fucking shift and I think it's horrible, I am absolutely against making a rule against it.
Yeah,
you just don't need to do that.
You don't want to. You need to massage this. You cannot just like stab it and create a new problem.
I am of the opinion that we should take the game back to the days of Ty Cobb.
No black.
No black players.
Oh, no! Fuck you.
I know what you're saying. You want the style of play. Is what you're
no, like style of play. And fuck it, like fuck playoffs. Let's just have the first place team in the NL play the first place team in the AL for the World Series, and everyone else can get fucked.
Mike, if you do that, the Pirates and the 73-win Pirates and the 76-win Giants are playing 162 exhibition games every year.
I know. I'm just being ridiculous for the sake of saying that, like. I feel a 12-team playoff is a bit ridiculous, and I know you might say, ridiculous. and I know you might say stuff like it's 6 teams per league in baseball. Like in the NHL, there's 8 teams per conference, and I'd say to that, like, the norms of these games evolve differently, and going back to my joke about we don't even need playoffs. For the longest time, baseball was very exclusive about their postseason. Like at first, it really was just the first place team in the NL plays the first place team in the AL. Yep. Then you had like, okay, we're gonna take like, what was it? The division winners.
They went from 2 for all the way up to 1969.
Yeah.
Only the top 2 teams.
And the reason they did that was because of expansion. Because you had the 61 expansion with the Angels, and I always forget the other one. And then in 69 they expanded again with the Royals and what are now the Brewers, but were the Seattle Pilots. And basically what were they up to at that point? 24 teams, I think, maybe 26. But the 2 12-team leagues just wasn't getting it anymore. So that's why they did it.
Then from 69 to 93, it was the 4 division winners.
Right.
with the LCS and the World Series. 95 introduces the wild card. And then in 2012, we introduced the wild card game.
The wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
And so
allowed
now we
teams
have-
which allowed teams to put up banners that say wild card champions.
Yeah. And so now we're going to have wild card series where there will be best 2 out of 3. And so the way it's going to work is the top 2 division winners will get a bye in the first round. And then the third best division winner is the 3 seed, and they'll be lumped in with the 4, 5, 6 wild card teams in a best 2 out of 3 wild card round in the first round.
But no more of that nonsense where the lower seed has to win 3 games or however it was before.
No,
Okay.
none of those weird things like that. And the other thing that I didn't realize, but as I'm reading this article I pulled up, will be no more tiebreaker games.
Really?
No more game 163. It's just they're just gonna have a list of tiebreaker qualifications.
I like
head-to-head
game
record
163, but whatever.
Me too.
I guess we're just killing off all the things that make baseball fun.
Yeah, I love the good game 163, but now it's just if you win the season series against a team, that's the number 1 tiebreaker.
Well, like you guys remember, right before they implemented the wild card game, that crazy
11 night 1
Red Sox Rays like end of the season, like
that was probably the last time that I think baseball captured the entire country for even just for a day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the last time where it was like this is why this game is so fucking great.
I had friends of mine. I had a friend of mine who is like notorious for the like LOL sports ball jokes, and he was like texting me going like, I don't understand baseball. Tell me why this is a big deal, because like even he was like seeing it and wanted to know what was happening.
Yeah, I think that was the like I said, the last time that the sport truly grabbed everybody. Because I remember on the boards we were just like, oh my god, this is unbelievable. This is why baseball is the best. And we've seen nothing like it since, which is unfortunate. And I don't know if we can. Maybe we can now with more teams. Who knows? But that was
so. No, the other thing that's interesting I too didn't think that we need another extra team in the playoffs and all that, but if you go back and look at the last 5 real, completely normal seasons, so 2020 taken out of it, there's really nothing odd that pops out. Like the 6th place team last year, the extra team in the playoffs last year would have been the Blue Jays in the AL, who were 91-71.
I can live with that
bad record.
Yeah.
And then in the NL, it would have been Cincinnati, who was 83-79.
Okay, that's not great, but still all right.
But for the most part, you get a lot of either low 90s teams that didn't make it or mid 80s teams. And the only time where you would have had a sub 500 team was back in 2017 in the AL. There were 3 teams that were tied for 80 and 82. That would have been the number 6 seed. And then the other interesting thing that happens is because we have plenty of years where the 3rd best division winner was just in a really crappy division.
Right.
So they'll still be the 3rd seed, but the 4 and 5 seeds might have a better record than they do. And then you might see that bad division winner get eliminated in the first round, and then you move on with the better teams in the next divisional round. So
because like in the AL East last year, it was the Rays, the Yankees, and
Rays were 162, and then the Red Sox and Yankees both had 92 wins.
So
and the Blue Jays were at 91.
Yeah, so the Jays at 91. I mean, it's kind of a shame that a team that wins 91 games has to sit home. So I can understand it from that perspective, but I also don't want it to be. And there will be years like this. It's like the NFL, though. I guess if you really want to just take away my traditionalist aspect of it and look at it realistically, we get years with the NFL as a division winner at 7-9. So that it's just going to happen.
I'm still so angry we were denied the 6-10 division. We were so close, guys. We're so close.
I know. Fucking blew it for us again. Was it the Commandos?
No. It was the Eagles. The Eagles. If the Eagles would have won that game, they would have won the division at I think 6-10.
Yeah.
Then they like essentially tanked it.
And then the 32s won their game,
and then the 32s got in at 7-9, which still sub 500, but like I could taste the 6-10.
Yeah.
I have a sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think that we're gonna when you can get a team like a 91 team Toronto into the playoffs in this format, I think it's good. And if that happens more often than not, I'm okay with it. If it's and we're gonna have years where that's not gonna happen. Just get used to the idea, just like in the NFL. Where we're going to have shitty 8-8 teams, or the Eagles from last year, or who the fuck was it in the AFC, the Steelers. That's what's going to happen too. But if we can keep if we can stop a 90-win team from not making the playoffs, then I think that's all right too. So that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, as long as the cream tends to rise as a trend, that's the important thing.
Can we insert that Macho Man cream of the crop promo?
Cream rises to the top.
Oh yeah!
One concept I just thought of as far as like trying to speed up the game. A lot of it obviously comes down to the pitchers. Yeah. I think you should survey the broadcasting teams, TV and radio, for all the teams in the league and nationally, and just survey them, gather the names, eventually compiling a list of the slowest, shittiest pitchers to watch. Because there's a lot of broadcasters are like, fuck me, I'm doing a Smith start, or some starter who's just like their motion just takes forever. They're slow and getting the delivery to the plate, and they step back a lot and they take time a lot. It's just like, god damn, get the fucking show on the road here. I got to cover 160 plus of these fucking games for you, that kind of thing. I think they'd give you an interesting list, and then you could just simply fire them all. Just send them all into some, I don't know, deserted island or something. Just let them live out their days, and slowly and very methodically, just what the Zach, are you all right there, buddy? You sound like you're dropping a pan.
He's cooking.
No, my Alex is here. She's unloading groceries. She's listening to the show.
Hi, Alex.
I think the one thing I'm a little disappointed that I'm actually slightly disappointed the lockout didn't go longer.
To make a shorter season?
Yes.
I could see why you would want that. I mean, that makes sense.
Like,
just to make it more exciting.
Well, I think we all kind of agree that 162 is way too damn long.
Yeah.
And a lot of baseball.
I think if we had done a thing where we missed a month or something, maybe they would have gone through the season and saw, oh, you know what, this is actually okay, and then maybe that morphs into something down the road. But the fact that they negotiated until the 11th hour to make sure that they got the full 162 was a little disappointing in that regard.
Yeah. I think we're gonna you'll kind of get your wish in a way because of the rules of the lockout and stuff. There's been so many players that haven't been able to tell the team that they're hurt for a couple months now.
Yeah.
And so they're finally like getting a hold of the team medical staff and saying, hey, I tore a ligament in my leg back in December. So I'm going to miss a while. It's like, God damn it. It's like you're trying to get this shit to work, but it's just like they can only report now. I mean, I'm sure there's ways they've, passed notes to get around it or whatever, but like, I don't know. It just makes me laugh that there's a lot of teams that suddenly are like, yeah, we can pencil this guy in at second base. It's like, hey, that guy's dead.
Well, I mean, we'll know more. We'll know more by the end of the week because don't spring training games start Friday?
I think so.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I know I bitch about it a lot. I mean, I'm glad it's back. I'm not spending the money on the MLB TV package this year because I figure between ESPN and all the new packages, I'll have plenty of places to watch baseball. So why pay extra on top of what I'm already?
Well, we're getting the Apple TV Friday Night Baseball package.
Yeah, that ought to be fun, right?
Two games on Apple TV every Friday night.
Well, yeah. One more thing before I don't know if you get any more about baseball, but we had a pretty big move in broadcasting too over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, hold on. Before we get to that, I have one small fun fact about baseball. Speaking of not spending the money, so the Reds are purging their roster for whatever reason. They're doing like a full rebuild, and the sixth highest paid Red as of right now is Ken Griffey Jr. He is 52 years old. He's getting paid almost $3.6 million.
What's he? Is he still on staff? What?
Don't for you. Yeah, it's like he's like got the Bobby Bonilla thing going
It's,
on
it's
here.
yeah, deferred salary. So
Yeah.
he's basically getting paid almost $4 million to just hang out. So he's the sixth highest paid Red, and somebody pointed out that he may be the best outfield option at this point compared to.
Aren't they pretty good?
Hey man, get him his Metamucil. He'll be good to go.
Weren't they pretty good last year, Zach?
Yeah.
You saw the standings up. I mean,
I thought the Reds.
They would have been the 6th place team to make the playoffs last year.
Wow, they're just gonna like trash it all now, huh?
They're just sending guys all over. Yeah.
They were 83 and 79. They finished 7 games behind the Cardinals for the last true wild card spot.
Fucking Cardinals.
And of course, that means they finished 23 games behind wild card winner Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, so we have a giant would you call it a face turn or a heel turn in broadcasting terms?
I'd call it a money turn.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Because it was what? Because who went first? Aikman.
Aikman went first.
Yep.
Yeah, because Aikman's contract was up this season, so he had the ability to leave, and he wanted to test those free agent waters, as it were, and there were big suitors, and most people thought he was going to go to Amazon to join Al Michaels for the Thursday night stuff, and then out of nowhere, ESPN offered him the big money, and he took it to go to Monday Night Football, and then Joe Buck only had 1 year left on his Fox contract, and ESPN did what it needed to do to make all that stuff work, and they, I guess, bought Buck out of his contract to sign him up for Monday Night Football because ESPN was looking for a big ticket pair because they're going to have their very first Super Bowl broadcast. I don't remember when, but when the new contract kicks in, I think after this season, the new NFL contract, ESPN/ABC is now back part of the Super Bowl rotation.
They are, yes.
And so, no offense to Steve Levy and Brian Grease and Louis Riddick and them, but are they a Super Bowl broadcast team? Probably not.
No.
Probably not. So now Buck and Aikman are on Monday night, and Fox is kind of left in the wind, where they actually have the Super Bowl next year. And
who do they have under contract?
Their number 2 team was Kevin Burkhardt and
Greg Olson.
Greg Olson. That's right. So I guess
I like Greg Olson. I liked Greg Olson, and he was just excited to be there.
If you wanted to hear a 16-year-old do color count, no, he was good. He just sounded young.
He sounded young and very excitable. Like he was just very happy to be part of the proceedings.
I don't think Fox has a very deep bench because you get past Buck and Aikman, it's kind of like, all right, I guess. I mean, Olson's pretty good, but they have Gus Johnson, right?
Yeah.
No. Or do they?
Yeah.
I don't think
Fox
they do. Has Gus.
But who else
Fox
do they
uses
have?
Gus for college football.
Eagle. I mean, that guy's, I think if this happens at CBS, you got some decent backups to go to. I think Fox.
Iron Eagle is at CBS.
Oh wait, my
That's
bad.
the thing is Fox's roster is not terribly deep.
No, not at all.
And so when you think about this is why ESPN made the move it did, because it's like you have to have an number 1 team if you're going to be, that level of broadcast. And so I thought that Buck would just ride it out for the 1 more year with Fox to make sure that he got the Super Bowl in there and then come to ESPN to rejoin Aikman. But the fact that he made the move early is the surprise to me.
I think that I think when you
and plus both of them are so synonymous with Fox, it's just going to be so weird.
Yeah.
Like, hi, welcome to ESPN. I'm Joe Buck. This is Troy. Like, it's going to be quite
when you've got a team like those, they've been together for what? I don't even know how long now. A long time.
Since Troy joined them, so 99.
Yeah. So I could see why I was kind of surprised they split up, but then I would rather they would have stayed at Fox. I don't know why. I guess because I just don't want to watch a Fox game that's going to suck. But I'm glad they're staying together because I can't imagine, like, you just when you've done that together that long. I can't see Troy Aikman calling a game with somebody else. I mean, I'm sure he could do it, but would it be the same? Would it be the same chemistry? Would it be the same? They just know
cohesion. Aikman started calling games with Buck in 2002.
Okay, so it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like like who was it on Sunday nights? Collinsworth and I guess Michaels. Well, Tirico's pretty good though. But Fox has got to, if I'm Fox, I go get like somebody that, like a second stringer like Mike Tirico, who's not like they grow on trees, but
Tirico is now the number one guy at NBC though. So
yeah, exactly.
He's not going to be poached out of that. And Michaels is all locked in with Amazon, and you got Nance and Romo are all locked up at CBS. I mean, Nance would never leave CBS. He's a dyed in the wool, CBS blazer wearing kind of guy.
Yep.
They are nice blazers.
They're quite classy.
The question is though, guys, who's going to call the USFL action?
Well, it wasn't going to be Joe Buck.
Speaking of Joe Buck, the one thing I'm disappointed about in all of this is that we will lose the wonderfulness that was Joe Buck having to shill WWE programming.
Yeah.
Because when WWE signed that big deal to move SmackDown to Fox, suddenly Joe Buck had to read copy for SmackDown, and it was the most glorious thing I'd ever seen. Because you could tell it killed him. It killed him a little bit each time.
Well, I mean, it's the same. It's the same energy as when like Buck was heading up the NFL Sunday show. That one weird year where he had to pretend to be all peppy and excited and full of energy, and everyone just kind of said, "No, you're not. You're just stop that. Please stop."
Yeah, I think the other big thing for Buck, because we just talked about baseball, he's not going to be on the World Series anymore.
Nope.
I would assume that he'll call some of those wild card series for ESPN, where he'd do ESPN still has Sunday Night Baseball, right?
Yeah.
So I assume he moves into that role and knocks out Matt Vasgersian. But
oh man,
he was Fox's number one for the World Series, for the Super Bowl, and I believe he was still doing the U.S. Open when the last couple of years for golf.
If I'm Matt Vasgersian, I'm talking to Fox because I think that's a guy that could step in. He's better than anybody.
I don't know for baseball. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he's ever even called football, but I think he would be good at it. He's, I don't know. I just Fox just.
But I think Burkhardt also has a pretty good lock at the baseball job because he's their studio guy for baseball.
Who's Dan Schulman calling baseball for now? He's pretty good, right? He was the ESPN.
Just does ESPN. I think he just does radio, ESPN radio.
I thought he was doing Sunday nights for a while too. Who was wasn't he the play-by-play guy for a while?
For a minute, yeah.
But he's really good.
He does most of the time for the Blue Jays, and then he does ESPN radio for the playoffs.
Well, it's going to be interesting because, like you said, Fox does not have a deep bench for football.
I just don't think that Gus Johnson. I don't know how much he's pretty good at basketball. He's pretty good at football.
He's great at college football.
Yeah. And small doses. I can't watch him every week.
He does.
Yeah.
He's got his shtick, and it's a good shtick. I think that when he's in a really close, insane game, he can take the energy of the wildness that's happening.
He throws it downfield.
Oh my God, I'm yelling! Like he does it better than anyone. Yeah. He makes noises in it, but it doesn't. In those moments, it feels earned. But when it does have like its limits. You can't put it out there every week because people are going to be like, "Fuck!" But at the same time,
like ESPN dealt with that when they had Joe Tessitore, right? And he was a college guy, college football announcer. That he would always do like the Thursday or Friday night games.
Yeah,
and it just always so happened that he would get these crazy results. Excuse me, God, I was fighting that off for a minute. He was always get these crazy games, the same way that Gus does, where it's like his tenor, his voice, his style matched the style of play. So they put him on Monday Night Football, and they had a lot of stinkers, and he couldn't do it because it just not every game is his type of game. And when you're on a big stage like that, it didn't work. So he stepped down and they got Steve Levy. So Fox has some very interesting decisions ahead of it. I would think that Kevin Burkhardt's the guy just based on the totem pole, but unless they poach someone from somewhere else or make a surprise move, I think that's kind of what they have to go with, at least in the interim. And that'd be a big deal for Kevin Burkhardt to go from the number 2 guy to calling a Super Bowl all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't think we're done with the movement yet. I really don't. I think you're going to see some more guys. I don't know what ESPN. You've got college guys you can look at from ESPN. There's a lot of. I don't know where you go find another Joe Buck. And speaking of that, has anybody done a bigger reclamation of their reputation and career than Joe Buck? I mean, if you remember, he was like one of the most hated broadcasters in sports not even 10 years ago.
I don't think that he really did anything different. He just kind of
quit trying to be Pat Summerall, and that was pretty much the difference. I feel like he's still this kind of Joe Buck. Like I don't think anything's really changed. He's changed. If you go back and watch,
he's loosened up.
Yeah,
he's certainly.
Well, the big complaint about Joe Buck was that he had absolutely no energy, and the big like exhibit A with that was the Giants Pats Super Bowl with the crazy helmet catch. Yeah. Right? It's like probably the most insane play in the history of the Super Bowl. But if you go back and just listen to the audio, it's like, oh, Manning drops back and he passes it and then that's a completion. And it's just completely devoid of any sort of excitement as to what was just seen.
Gus Johnson would still be yelling about that shit right now.
Well, and I think to what Greg's point is like, the reason Joe Buck called that play like that is because he was trying to be Pat Summerall, or he was trying to be that older style announcer that didn't get excited. And the thing about it is that like that just doesn't work, or at least it doesn't work when you have such an extraordinary happening in front of you. You need to be able to show some emotion. And I think that's kind of what he did, is that like he didn't become the most animated guy ever overnight, but like he just loosened up just a bit to let just enough personality shine through that people were like, okay, yeah.
He was trying to do a Pat Summerall impersonation at the beginning of his career, and then he started to settle into Joe Buck.
I think he's really good. I do. I know that's maybe not the most popular opinion, but you know who's really good at doing Pat Summerall? Pat Summerall. That's like that's one of a kind. That's like, I'm going to sound like Vince Scully. It's like, no, you're not. That's never ever going to happen. Or,
well, unless you're Chris Collinsworth's son, and then you just sound like Chris Collinsworth.
God, that's
so. Reading up on this, the one of the top media reporter guys in the business is Andrew Marchand of the New York Post.
Yeah, and
he was the one that broke the Buck news. So he says that Kevin Burkhardt is the clear favorite to become the NFL play-by-play voice. He also mentions that that Al Michaels to Amazon has not been officially signed off on yet. So Al Michaels is still available. But Fox can still probably go with Burkhardt. For baseball, also for football, he mentions that Fox could go after Drew Brees as an analyst or Sean Payton as an analyst.
Drew Brees? No.
I agree. On the baseball side, of things for Fox, it looks at 34-year-old Joe Davis is still the favorite. Joe Davis has been working like the number 2 Fox games for a bit. Yeah. And he's also the guy that took over for Vince Scully on Dodgers TV. They also mention Fox's Adam Amin, ESPN's Dan Schulman, and MLB Network's Matt Vasgersian as candidates.
Vasgersian's really good. I really think he's really good.
Yes, he signed on last year as the Angels main guy, and he's going to do a larger majority of the Angel game this year. And I thought he was very good. Calls a clean game, has the voice that you can recognize, and but Joe Davis is also very, very good. It's not easy to just follow up Vince Scully and
that's where you want to be.
He's done a very good job.
You want to be the replacement's replacement in that scenario. You don't want to be the guy following Vince Scully. It's like, I'll take the job after this dude that's following him gets fired, then I'll take it. But yeah, that's Vince. God, could you imagine? Like, I've got to go take Vince Scully's place. I'm fuck it. I'm gonna go find something. I'm gonna become a truck driver or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and he had the benefit of being able to be eased into that because Scully wasn't going on the road, and and so he was able to kind of do half and half in the last couple of years of Scully's tenure before taking over completely. So, and he's been alongside Oral Hershiser, who's pretty good in the booth as well.
Yeah, he's really good too. Yeah, but I think that your options are there's a lot more options for baseball because you've got. Like the NFL, there's no TV games except network games. Whereas in baseball, you've got TV games. Everybody has them. So you're going to get guys that are, better, if that makes sense. Like you've got a better farm system to work with in baseball than you do in football. Because in football, it's all radio guys or college guys. That's all you got to work with if they're not already doing it. So, yeah. So anyway, we got anything else or should we wrap it up?
Well, good stopping point.
All right.
The Batman, quite good.
The Batman was an excellent movie.
Been thinking about it all week. Still.
Hey, speaking of watching stuff, am I the only one that watched Winning Time on HBO Max?
I haven't got a chance to dive into it yet. No,
it's how can I?
I've heard. Here's what I've heard. People of your demographic, Greg, aren't big fans of it.
I loved it, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's the thing though.
I know there's people that aren't happy with like some of the characterizations of Kareem.
Oh, whatever. It's a TV show, people, for fuck's sake. It's not a documentary. It's a TV show. They're going to make Kareem edgier. The whole thing. Just get over it. It's just entertainment. God almighty. I just understand. It's fun. I'll put it that way. Is it accurate? Probably not. I mean, it's accurate. The Lakers, had Magic Johnson. They had Kareem and Norm Nixon, and
I mean, it's based on a book by Jeff Pearlman, who interviewed all these guys. So
based being the operative term here. Based on. It's not
okay.
It's fun though. I mean, it's an enjoyable. If you were into the Lakers in the '80s like I was, and I mean, I was thinking about this. There were two teams that just like I would stop everything to watch. It was those Lakers and the Browns, and I mean, I'm watching this thing. I watched because I watched the Lakers thing. I'm like, I'm going to check out this Lakers versus Celtics best of enemies thing on ESPN Plus. I'm sitting there. It's 40 years later, however long it's been. I'm still getting pissed off at the fucking Celtics. That's how it's just like, God damn these fucking assholes, And anyway, but yeah, Winning Time's worth a look. It's not like the greatest thing. It's no Mad Men. It's not Breaking Bad. It's not that, but it's fun. It's fun to watch. You should check it out, Zach. You'll like it.
It's only been an episode, right?
2 now. There's 2. The second one came out last night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was in Orlando for the last week, so
Batman's good. How was Disney World versus Disneyland?
Well, it's different. So I think the only way to do it is a proper like park by park comparison. Like the Magic Kingdom and Disney World, to me, maybe this is just bias, but I think original classic Coke Disneyland is better than the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World for a variety of reasons.
Most of the people that I know that have been to both places all think Disneyland is better. So
yeah, I think that's the case.
Yeah,
I think our California Adventure is probably better than their Hollywood Studios, but they're also not a 1-to-1 comparison because
Isn't Hollywood Adventure supposed to be like? I've heard bad things about.
Well, Hollywood Studios is where Star Wars Land is in Florida, but Star Wars Land is in Disneyland in California.
Oh, sorry,
it's not 1-to-1.
Sorry, California Adventure. I've heard bad things about California Adventure.
California Adventure is an interesting project that's had many faces over time, but they're finally figuring it out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's increasingly getting better, and when they expand, they put in the Avengers Land there, and that is fine. It needs to be expanded on, and it will be. But they've fixed some of the problems they had early on, and they're working on it. But I will say, out of everything we did, Epcot is awesome.
Oh yeah,
Epcot rules.
Epcot's probably my all-time favorite Disney park.
As when Alex was asking me like what I liked and why I liked it, when I was younger, I was always so fascinated with the idea of the World's Fair and that it existed at all and how it was run. With all these exhibits and showing off of technology in the future and showcasing different things. And Epcot to me feels like the spirit of what those World's Fair would be today, where you have kind of these cheesy, setups with like the communication throughout time, or
A world of tomorrow, kind of
right?
thing.
And yeah, and like even the living with the land thing, where you show like, oh, we're doing all these plants, and then the World Showcase with these little slices of every country and kind of showing that stuff off. I loved it. It was awesome. Like that, of all the places that we went to, that is the place in Orlando that I would love to go to. If I lived in the area, that's the one that I would go to more than the others, because it feels like you could go there every time and do something new, especially the World Showcase in terms of the food and the drink options and the festivals and things like that.
Epcot's awesome, and I'm glad to hear that you appreciate Figment.
Figment is great, and I will hear no second opinions or slander on our favorite imaginary dragon.
My wife was so stoked when I was like, "Yeah, dude, this guy from my podcast loves Figment," and she was like, "Oh, yay!" Like, Figment is.
There are plenty of people out there that hate on Figment. He has gotten a bad rap.
Sucks. The current ride has not aged well, and he's ill-treated. I feel like he deserves better, and I hope he gets better. In my opinion,
The important question, Zach: did you get any Solar Bear stuff?
No, I looked.
Good.
So, like in the airport itself, there's 2 Disney stores and 2 Universal stores. There was a Lids, but it was like out of the way, and we were like trying to get to the security line, so there wasn't going to be a way to be like, hey, can I go look at Lids for a second? But I checked all the generic like newsstand shops. They usually have that stuff, at least in other airports I've been to, but nothing, not even Magic merch in those stores. But
I was wondering if maybe you walked into a store and asked for Solar Bears gear, and they went, "Who?"
No, well,
what?
And the other thing was like on the off time we had, I didn't think there was going to be any Solar Bears merch at Disney Springs, and the one day we had when we were switching from Universal to Disney was a little bit more logistics. And the other thing that I didn't totally realize until you're there, once you're on Disney property, you are in your own country. You do not need to leave. You are not encouraged to leave. Everything you need is here provided.
It's technically not even Orlando,
right? Yeah,
it's Buena Vista, whatever.
Lake Buena Vista, yeah.
Which is like, it's so weird. It's its own. It's a little part of Florida that the state of Florida just flat out said to Disney, "Yeah, you can like create your own laws here."
Wasn't there? Or am I thinking of a different place where there was an airport involved and all sorts of other shit with Disney World, right?
Oh yeah, no. This is they have their own airport, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But like, you only get to use it if you're like a company exec,
right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
they have their own like transportation system, and it's so easy to just get, once you're on the property, you just get sucked in, and you don't even have to think that there's other parts of Florida that exist. It's not
or even other parts of the United States or the world. Just stay here forever. Disney, the Republic, the Sovereign Republic of Disney.
Is that where the Buena Vista Lake? Is that where Buena Vista Pictures comes from? Because that's a Disney.
Buena Vista Pictures. So what it all actually comes from is in Burbank, where the Walt Disney Studios were made. They are on Buena Vista Street, they took that and expanded it to a whole bunch of other things.
There you go. So we started out with, I don't remember what, and we're ending up with some Disney trivia for everyone. How about that?
Solid.
Yeah,
works for me.
Can't wait to go back and eat and drink more around the world.
Full service podcast here at Basically a Sports Show.
The only reason I ever would voluntarily go to Florida is to go back to Disney.
So I need to ask: did you stay at the Star Wars hotel?
No, God. Look, as much as I would love to, the fact that it is $3,000 for one person and $4,800 for two people for a 2-night, not even 2 nights. It's 2 nights, but it's roughly 36 hours of interactive time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do it. It won't be this year. It may not be next year. It may not even be the year after that. but that's just a lot for a small amount of time.
Do they fly you?
I want to hate
something for that much money.
What is that, Greg?
I said, do they fly you to Tatooine for that much money, or what? Do you get to like take the Millennium Falcon out for a
No, you get to live in a bunker hotel room for 2 days that is Star Wars themed.
It's so funny.
Wow.
We were when we were on the bus and you're driving around, we drove by it and I was like, oh, look at that office building. And then Alex was like, no, that's the Star Wars hotel from the back. And I was like, oh.
Well, because they
it's not as cool on the outside because it's not a real spaceship.
Well, because they try to like mimic what it would be like to live in a Star Wars style spaceship, but the downside to that is that there are no windows.
No real windows. You have
no real
LED screens that look like space, but no real windows.
So if you look at pictures of the room online, it's like, oh wow, so this is just like a bunker.
A prison cell.
Yeah.
It's a prison cell with nicer sheets.
To give you an idea, and I'll send this to you guys, to give you an idea of the expense of Walt Disney World. Since it opened in 1971, prices have not gone down for entry compared. Like there's this great chart with average rent, average wages, and average cost of gas. Disney World has gone up every year. It has gone up over almost 4,000% since it opened, and it's pretty fascinating to look at this thing.
That's wild because even like Cedar Point, which is not even the same ballpark, but still around here, big amusement park, has held steady certain years as far as admission costs go and all that. That's weird that they've gone up every single year.
But Disney makes it worth it. That's the thing. Is like if you complain, like I see all these people, whether it's at Disneyland or at Disney World, with the most expensive day ever shirts. And certainly when we went, we spent a lot of money to get there. And then even when we were there, we spent more and more money than maybe we were even thinking about. But if you're going to complain about the money, then a Disney vacation is not for you.
Oh, sure.
If you're going to think about what you're spending every second that you're spending it, you're not going to have a good time. And that's not to say that like you need to be completely financially solvent to go, but like you just have to accept you're spending money.
Yeah.
It's all going to be worth it at the end, but you're spending money.
You get what you pay for.
Like for me, Daytona Bike Week, it's like when we went, it was like you can't worry about, you just got to go do it. And don't worry about the rest.
Like the Star Wars hotel is different because that is a lot of money for a short amount of time. So that is still a thing that's kind of weighing. Like, is that totally worth it? But I will, having gone just now, and maybe it's still the high. I think we were there 6 nights, 5 days in the parks. Totally worth every penny we spent on it.
Well, that's all that matters. That's really all that matters. If you've got the money and you're okay spending it, the rest is just fucking, I don't know what. Not worth
Disney's just it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and you know what? People hating on fun just need to stop hating on fun, people.
Yeah,
you can have plenty of fun there for less than we spent for sure. But if you're willing to put more money into it, you're going to get all of it back.
Just ride the monorail back and forth. That's a good time.
It's not bad. Theirs needs to be updated to what we have back out here, but that was in the 80s. But
my preferred Disney hotel is the one where the monorail like goes through it.
Yeah, the Contemporary. That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. We stayed at the Pop Century, so right off the Skyliner, which I didn't think a system of gondolas would be all that effective. It is. except for when the thunderstorms come in and shut down the giant metal boxes in the sky, but otherwise,
it's effective. Florida. You're gonna have that.
Right. All right, guys, we're like way out in the weeds here. It's time to wrap this bad boy up. So we will do more Disney talk next week if you guys want to hear it. And follow us at Basically Sports on Twitter. You can vote for the Elite 8 of the GTOV there. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and wherever fine podcasting is sold. We will see you all next time.
See the Batman. It's good.
Ta-ta.
Go ride Velocicoaster at Universal Studios. It's great.
Winning Time on HBO Max. It's worth your time. All right. We'll see you next time, guys.
Adios.